is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a video that was shared to Twitter of a user I have in fact covered on Omegon 2 in a video over there titled Love Parties. Because that's the thing, it did quite well on that channel. Omegon 2's not been doing so well of late. I should promote it here. If you like slightly less filtered content, where I don't have to be confined to somewhat more filtered, more controlled, less free formats, like here, go subscribe. I'd appreciate it. We've been struggling this year. We're working on it, but hopefully we'll do better. I am going to play clips from that video here, because it is relevant to the topic we're going to cover today, which will be the video shared to Twitter. I knew I'd covered this person before, because they're one of those TikTok people who seem to fall into a trend category, where one, myself, cannot be too sure if they are legitimate or somebody doing what was once dubbed a trans trender. There are many creators back during the anti-SJW times, which are getting a bit of a renaissance yet again, who fell into this category, so they tried to find ways to stand out and be unique. In the context of the person we're going to cover today, I don't know if they are or not. But what they're about to talk about is a very weird flex, so I'll play the Love Parties video first, and then we'll dive into the video I want to respond to.
Has never happened to me before, but I have been invited to 3 sex parties tonight.
You do you, boo? Weird flex, but okay? Is this a good thing to be invited to 3 sex parties? I mean, you must be quite the, treat to be invited to 3, I think. I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to ask for evidence for this either, by the way. There are very specific circumstances where I'm not going to ask for proof. This is most certainly one of them.
And I know you're thinking there's no way that I'm going to attend all 3, to which I say, think again.
Under any normal circumstance, that would make you a slut, regardless of gender. It would also make you a liar, unless your intention is to participate in 1, be the cameraman for the 2nd, and 2, sleep during the 3rd, or be experimented on? I don't know how you do this. Of course, there's an alternative. They all be hosted at the same time, or be held at different times, and you are able to get to all 3 because conveniently they're all very close to one another. Additionally, how do you define party? How many people are involved? Because if it's just 1 person, or a Facebook party, do expect only 1 other person to turn up, and it be the only person that begs to be at these parties.
I am all about breaking records and being of service to my community.
I don't know if that's a record worth bragging about.
One's at 5 p.m. and I'm almost there. Then the next one has a hard cutoff at 7, and that's in Midtown, so I gotta get there. The 3rd one's at 9:30, also in Midtown, so this is very manageable. I have snacks, I have breath mints, I have long socks so I can stick a bottle of lube in them at close check if I need to. I am ready and prepared to make history.
There are 2 parts of this that fascinate me. The first is that you upload this to TikTok. That fascinates me because there isn't really much in TikTok to make from TikTok, especially as this is a vlog, as you have put it, 18+ vlog. YouTube would be beneficial for you to grow your brand, even if it is somewhat NSFW by the standards of YouTube's terms of service. The second is the location of this and convenience of it. Could you guys not just make this into one big party? Or are there too many divas or power bottoms that had to be spread out?
Okay, I'm here, I gotta go.
Is this the part where we're supposed to hold bets? To see whether or not they were the giver, the receiver, the cameraman, the water boy girl? Because I'm going to put money on the following. They were the lube distribution system, as in they were the sanitizer thing you push down to get the gel out.
Party number 1, big success.
I was going to insert the Brian Griffin vomiting thing meme, yeah. Turns out every webpage that had a YouTube downloader for videos didn't work. So you get Gandalf bobbing his head instead. You're all welcome.
Understand, I'm trying to be more realistic and set my expectations these days and quit while I'm ahead. Because I'll just be going at it with these guys and then I'll look up and be like, oh my god, I'm in love with 6 of you. And does that work out well for me in the end? Never, not once. I'm trying to fall in love with less people, right? And I thought that I was doing a great job and I was like, you know what, only in love with 4. I've had a great time to get out and go to the next one.
Not trying to sound callous, rude or harsh, but the word love has lost all meaning in that context, then surely. I don't suppose by chance you're writing music for Taylor Swift, are you?
And then the really hot one was like, hey, don't leave before I get your number. And I was like, anyway, I gave it to him. Don't get your hopes up. You and me both. The night is still young, though. There's so many other people I could fall in love with.
I like that you're open to playing the field, but you were already going into it with a somewhat negative Nancy mentality. So you're willing to continue playing the field even though a rather decent option you yourself concede is presented because you believe it to be too good to be true. You're calling sus on it.
Like an hour later, and I just left number 2. Not as good as number 1.
Yes, I heard similar arguments for those into piss and scat.
The first one was at somebody's apartment, so very Friends vibes. And the one I just left was at like a sanctioned place in Midtown. There was a cover charge for this one too, which I didn't pay because they said I looked under 25.
Wait, a sanctioned place? Are you a prostitute?
Both were diverse and inclusive groups in terms of like demographic, but not in terms of mindset. Like at the first one, everyone was into everybody and like playing with everybody, and then at the second one, it was kind of like everyone's walking around like scoping each other out, and like you didn't pay $30 to scope people out. Like what?
I'll be honest, if you're paying for a service, you do want to scope things out. If it's a free-for-all and you're with mates, I kinda get why you wouldn't do that, because you're just there to have some fun. But someone paying for it, you want to be picky with the service you're receiving, unless you are the sole beneficiary of that money, in which case they've already made their mind up and they want you. That's typical for a transaction. In this instance, you're being unnecessarily fussy about not getting as much action as you feel you deserve, or giving as much action as you feel you should have given. I've no doubt you were definitely a receiver, but you gave something, I'm sure, with one tight squeeze of that sock.
Let's do stuff. I still had my fair share of fun, but different environments, just different experience. I have enough time to get pizza before party number 3, and that's what I'm doing.
I'll be honest, if you want to eat certain food groups to increase your returns and what you're able to give in these sessions, beef is a good option, liver another, salmon, oysters, Brazil nuts, tuna, pork, basically anything with selenium, B12, vitamin D, omega-3 of course, and folate. Oh, and vitamin A of course. You're welcome. IR Science and Smirt, can you tell?
I also know some of you are like, you could not waterboard this information out of me, James. Why are you telling us this? Partially because I am a consenting adult and this is a normal thing that some people do. And I think there's a lot of shame and stigma where there doesn't need to be about enjoying these kind of events.
Okay, so now we get to a point that I think is worth raising. You are right, there should not be any shame in joining, partaking, getting involved in, stuck in, elbow, wrist deep, whatever in these events. Sharing it on social media is where the issue arises. Not that you shouldn't, however, many from differing backgrounds and cultures are going to look at this differently.
There are also tons of people who think trans and non-binary people like me are not attracted and will never find love, or that we're like sterile. There's so many misconceptions.
I think you'll find, because I'm going to be pointlessly and quite frankly pathetically pedantic, there are many people from many different backgrounds, cultures, societies that will not find others of various different beliefs, presentations, genders, creeds, all the usual stuff that has to be inserted here as a disclaimer, so I'm not discriminating against any one group or leaving them out. They will not find someone from those respective groups attractive. Shocker. The vast majority of the people on this planet are heterosexual. The vast majority. So yes, you are right. They may not find you attractive for whatever reason. Who cares though, right? What other people think, as long as you, the individual, are happy. But then you are on social media, and the age of clout-chasing TikTokers is still in full swing. Validation must be all-encompassing. Am I right, folks?
After getting dicked down by half of New York, I'm here to tell you that we are very desirable and we are very hot to many people, and like, you can be trans and non-binary and still have a healthy, wonderful sex life and still be loved.
Mate, I'm just gonna say now, being passed around like a joint in a prison doesn't mean you've been loved. It just means you got a lot of use and mileage. It's not quite the same thing.
As soon as I got to the hotel where the third one was scheduled, the group was deleted on the app in which it was organized, and I was like, what?
Zut alors. It must have been a sting operation. They got you, folks.
I thought maybe I had been blocked. I thought maybe I was the problem, but I wasn't. Because then I was looking at this other guy who was very clearly there for the same reasons. He was like, this just get canceled for you too? And I was like, yeah. Anyway, long story short, he was staying in the same hotel, so we just went back to his place. So was it 3? Technically, no.
Well, at least you got to have a happy ending. Again, and again, and again, and again.
But was it an enjoyable evening had by all? And by all, I mean myself? Yes, I would consider this successful.
Yes, nothing reeks of successful more than what you partook in for the day. You paid to play, and when you couldn't pay to play because it got cancelled, you went to play instead. I'm so happy for you. Can you tell from the tone of my voice? I know I struggle sometimes to convey joy, but I couldn't be more overjoyed that you got rogered and you rogered like there's no tomorrow. It must be one hell of an occupation, being a pimp that pays to play. So, that is the video from Omegon 2 that I've condensed down but left a lot in because I wanted to leave a lot of it in. I'll link the video down below if you want to go and give it a listen, the full context that is. We're now going to skip to a more recent video that was shared to Twitter of this same person.
Sometimes I get messages from other trans girls that are like, hey, I love what you're saying, but I just wish you would put in some effort and like put on some makeup so you don't make the rest of us look bad. I think...
So this is where I knew of you because of the likes of Jeffrey Marsh, Dylan Mulvaney. You fell within this category because you can identify however you like, that's your business. But many are going to judge how you present yourself because you either don't pass or because you're holding on to something from your previous identity that stands out a bit too much or makes you look too much like what you think you're not now. Humanity is a judgy species as a whole. No one's going to deny that. When your own community calls you out for looking like low effort, one does sometimes have to be careful how they respond, because some like to think that because you're all transgender, apparently, you should all be some kind of collective and just simultaneously champion each other. If that's the response we get today, then you're just proving a point of low effort and stupid.
That's really f***ed up. In a way, I get why it would piss you off, because when you're sitting there putting on a full face of makeup every day so you don't get clocked, so you do pass, and then here's this other yapping at 500,000 people being like, I don't care that I didn't shave today.
With the way society is currently going through a massive culture shift in the United States, whether it be diet, whether it be debt, whether it be education, society is taking a hit, and it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. You, the individual, are in a no-win position. No one is really, unless you voted for it, right? In your case, you're on the back foot, and have been for a while, because you're never going to be able to please the internet. The internet is one gigantic weapon. You have black pill boomers who will just see negativity in everything. I'm not trying, by the way, to elevate you. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your body. It is, after all, your choice. But you cannot escape the judgment of the internet or society as a whole. You can't. If you want to make videos complaining about how the world's against you, it's not going to work in your favour because of the aforementioned culture change within your country, the United States. And no, don't move here. We have enough people in the United Kingdom that are already quite intolerable.
I'd be like, what gives? And what gives is my I don't have them anymore.
You've heard that banjo song, haven't you? I like that song, and I'm glad you don't care anymore. It's one of my favourite songs. I was going to make it a ringtone on my phone, but then I realised I might actually get a phone call for a change. Mercifully, I don't. People aren't that stupid to have a conversation, they just text me. I'll make it my text alert. Oh, that'd be a great idea.
My transition has been about setting myself free, not about finding another set of gender norms to adhere to. Passability is not going to save us. Devotion to white supremacist beauty standards is not going to save us. Remember the acceptable gay movement from the AIDS crisis almost through Obergefell about these gays are just normal people and let them into society. They're just like us. At the beginning it was helpful in opening people's minds, but it ultimately sanitized queerness to the point where folks are still homophobic and they haven't interrogated it.
For those who can't quite work out what's going on here, it's called Mental Gymnastics 101. When one tries to justify what they think is right or acceptable, they have to overcomplicate something with a false equivalence, but loosely tying it into the overarching movement or point, to really drive home that point, to make it seem more relatable. It doesn't work if you have an IQ over 2. The reason why it doesn't work is because most people can see through this for what it is. You don't want to be seen as passing because you just want people to call you what you are, or what you want everyone to think you are anyway. Again, it's not my place to judge or criticise that part, I couldn't care less. But when you got criticism from your own community, perhaps a moment to reflect would be a good idea rather than simply finding a way to explain your way out. That is not, by the way, an indicator that you should change, because of course it is down to the individual, is it not? But if you expect everyone to play your game with rules that you make up, don't be surprised if people find a cheat code. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. Am I right, folks?
If we can't look at clocky dolls, if we can't look at bricky girls, if we can't look at girls who haven't shaved and still love them as women, we will never set ourselves free. We won't. If you find yourself adhering to gender norms and subscribing to beauty standards, it's probably worth interrogating. Why?
The answer why is remarkably simplistic. The vast, resounding majority of humans on this sodding planet are either male or female, boy, girl, man, woman. The vast majority. A majority so vast, you are a drop of water within an ocean of a species. A single drop of water. Rather than reflect on criticism you receive, you've basically boing-flipped that and gone, no, you. It's a bit of a cute one, I will admit.
Back to the original point, I'm not making you look bad. I'm just a different kind of girl than you are. And that actually speaks to how much our community has grown and evolved. And I think that's a good thing.
There is a remarkably obvious and very callous remark many of us would want to say that we cannot say. To those comments at the end there. Many people now say it on Twitter instead freely. I have no interest in saying it, but it did pop into my head. It was the very first thing. With all that we discuss on this channel, I do want to know what you think, because subjects like this, I find with the shift in society, especially in the United States, and my country as well now, with the Supreme Court ruling, it's very interesting and very contestable, and I'm intrigued by it. So do let me know in the comments down below, drive up that engagement, smash the like. If I don't see you on Twitch later for Star Trucker, hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you all very much for listening.